It's not the graphics, it's not the latest update, and it's definitely not the Minecraft burnout. The real reason a dedicated slice of survival players are quietly logging off for good is because the thrill is gone. What if I told you the very updates meant to make Minecraft better have accidentally stripped away the one thing these players crave? A real, heart-pounding struggle. And what if that struggle has found a new, much more unforgiving home? There's a memory that every veteran Minecraft player shares. It's their first night. The frantic scramble to punch a hole in a dirt wall as the sun dips below that perfectly square horizon. And then that sudden chilling realization. You're not alone. The zombies, the skeletons, the creepers, they were all a death sentence. You didn't have a bed, you didn't have a torch, you had nothing but 4 dirt walls and a feeling of pure exhilarating panic. So, where did that feeling go? Look, this isn't a hit piece on Minecraft, it's a look at a growing feeling. A quiet exit of players who found themselves standing on a mountain of diamonds, decked out in enchanted netherite, and feeling, well, nothing. The game has gotten worse. By almost every measure, it's gotten infinitely better. The world's gorgeous, the creative options are endless, and there's more to do than ever. But for a specific type of player, the survivalist, the core challenge has been watered down. Survival mode feels more like a suggestion than a promise. That's the big problem with modern survival Minecraft. After more than a decade of updates, a whole bunch of small quality of life improvements have sanded down all those rough edges, and in the process, they've removed the very friction that made surviving so satisfying. Remember when finding food was a real problem? When you had to ration supplies or risk starving to death on a long caving trip? Now with endless food sources and easy automated farms, starvation is less of a threat and more of a tiny annoyance. Remember being terrified of the night, the strategic need for light, the bed, which used to be just a respawn point, became a magic button to skip the dark entirely, getting rid of half the game's danger with a single right click. Phantoms were added to fight this, but they just became an annoying sky buzzard that was easily dodged by sleeping or standing underneath a block. Each update, while adding amazing new things to build and explore, has also added this power creep. Elytras are one of the most fun items in the entire game, but they turn a huge, dangerous world into a checklist of biomes to just fly over. Mending and Unbreaking 3 make your god tier gear last forever. And Villager Dragon Halls, they turn rare enchantments and diamond armor into something you can just farm like wheat. The result is a gameplay loop that goes from 0 to 100, and then just flatlines. For the dedicated player, the journey from punching a tree, becoming an untouchable flying demigod, happens shockingly fast. The challenge just evaporates. You build bigger bases and fancier redstone, but the struggle for survival, that tension from your first night is gone. You're not surviving in the world anymore. You've conquered it. And for players who are driven by overcoming real obstacles, conquest is game over. This isn't a knock on anyone who loves that sandbox freedom. The beauty of Minecraft is that it can be a million different things to a million different people. But for the survival purist, the game has lost its teeth. They end up chasing that original high with self-imposed rules or heavy mods, trying to rebuild that difficulty that the game itself has taken away. But what if they didn't have to? What if a game was built from the ground up to make that punishing difficulty the entire point? For players leaving Minecraft to find a real challenge, the destination is often a game that looks familiar, but plays by a completely different and far crueler set of rules. That game is Vintage Story. Calling Vintage Story a Minecraft clone completely misses the point. It uses a similar blocky world as a canvas, but the picture it paints is one of brutal, uncompromising realism. This is a game that doesn't just ask you to survive, it demands that you respect its world, learn its deep systems, and earn every single step forward. It takes that nostalgic memory of Minecraft's tough early days and makes it the entire existence. The change for a new player is a shock. You don't just punch a tree to get wood, you have to find loose rocks on the ground, then figure out how to knap them together, chipping away at digital flint in a special interface to create your first awful looking stone axe head. That very first task sets the tone for everything. Nothing is given, and everything is earned through a process that feels like it's pulled from actual history. Hunger in Minecraft is a bar you just top up. In Vintage Story, it's complex nutrition system. You can't just live on bread. You need different food groups like fruits, vegetables, and protein to have your maximum health. Food rots, forcing you to learn preservation. You'll build cellars to keep things cool, or salt meat to prepare for the long winter. Oh yeah, there are seasons, and with them comes very real sense of doom. If you haven't stored enough food by the time snow starts falling, you will starve. That's not a maybe, it's a guarantee. But the scariest part of this world isn't the hunger or the cold, it's the temporal storms. Out of nowhere, the sky will crackle with an eerie energy, the world will drain of color, and creatures straight out of a nightmare will start crawling out of the woodwork. These aren't the slow, predictable zombies in Minecraft. They are fast, glitchy, and absolutely terrifying. Your first temporal storm is pure panic as you huddle in your tiny dirt hut listening to the world get torn apart. It makes Minecraft's night feel like a pleasant evening stroll. And no, there is no bed to skip it. You just have to endure it. This deep, authentic survival feel is baked into everything. Trees don't float, cave-ins are a real threat if you dig carelessly, animals are extremely aggressive, and hunting is a tense, dangerous job. You even have to manage your body temperature by dressing for the weather. All these systems create a constant, low-level anxiety that's just missing from Minecraft. Every single decision matters, and survival feels earned because it's always one mistake away from being lost. If the world of Vintage Story is a steep cliff, the progression system is an entire mountain range. The game is built around a journey through humanity's own technological history, and it makes you feel every single step. In Minecraft, getting to iron is easy. Find a cave, dig down, spot some more, toss in a furnace. Hell, you could even go on a boat and look for a sunken ship. You can have a full set of iron gear on your first day. In Vintage Story, just reaching the Iron Age is a massive achievement that can take dozens of hours. First, you need to hand shape clay pots before firing them in a pit kiln that you dug yourself. Then, you have to actually find ore. You can't just see it on a cave wall. You use a special pick to take rock samples, analyzing them to figure out where a deposit might be buried. It's a slow, methodical process of geological detective work. When you finally find copper or tin, you can't just smelt it. You need to build a specialized furnace called a bloomery. To do that, you need special bricks made from fire clay, which you also have to find and process. You could, however, make them in a much more tedious way if you can't find them anywhere. Then you smelt your raw ore into an impure chunk of metal. That chunk has to be taken to an anvil, which you had to forge out of bronze, an entire tech age you already mastered, and hammered over and over to pound out impurities. One ingot at a time. Only then, after all that, can you finally start to smith your first iron tool. And that whole process is Vintage Story in a nutshell. It's long, it's complicated, and sometimes it's honestly a grind. But the feeling of pulling that first real iron ingot from the forge gives you a sense of accomplishment that Minecraft's instant crafting can no longer touch. You didn't just find iron, you've mastered it. The game respects your patience, and the reward isn't just a better tool, but the pure satisfaction of conquering a genuinely complex challenge. This depth is everywhere. There's no simple 3x3 crafting grid. There's clay forming, smithing, and knapping. You don't just place logs, you make firewood piles and stack timbers to build structures that feel real and grounded. It's a game designed for a long-term journey, not a casual afternoon. That's exactly what these dedicated survival players are looking for. Maybe the biggest difference, and the thing that really builds loyalty, isn't in the game's code, but it's in the culture around it. Minecraft, owned by Microsoft, is a global brand. Mojang speaks through polished videos and carefully managed announcements, for the most part. Their development process is a black box. The community has been asking for proper modding API for years, with little to show for it. Vintage Story, on the other hand, feels like a passion project because it is. The small development team has a level of transparency and community focus that's just not possible for a giant corporation. The game's Discord server isn't just a place for fans to chat, it's part of the development process. The devs are in there daily, answering questions, taking feedback, and just talking to their players. The biggest difference is how they handle modding. While Minecraft modding is a tangled mess of different versions and third-party launchers, Vintage Story has a powerful built-in modding API. The developers actively encourage the modding community. This has created a healthy environment where mods are seen as extensions of the game, not unsupported hacks. In fact, several popular community mods have been officially added to the base game. It's a two-way street that creates a powerful sense of ownership. Players feel heard, they feel like they're part of the journey. When developers are so clearly passionate about their own game and listen to people playing it, you get a feedback loop of excitement. It stands in stark contrast to the corporate feel of modern Minecraft, and it's a huge reason why players who make the switch to Vintage Story rarely look back. So are survival fans quitting Minecraft? Not all of them, and it's not out of anger. Think of it more like a quiet graduation. Minecraft was and is a masterpiece. It taught millions of us how to survive, build, create. But once you've mastered its world, slain the dragon, and built everything you can imagine, the search for a new frontier begins. The real reason these players are moving on is that the hunger for a true challenge never really goes away. It's human nature to want to overcome adversity. The thrill of surviving that first night in Minecraft was so powerful because the threat was real and our tools were pathetic. As the game evolved, the threat has faded. And for some, so has the satisfaction. Games like Vintage Story aren't trying to kill Minecraft. They're offering a new path for players who reached the end of Minecraft Survival's road. They offer a return to that feeling of being small and vulnerable in a world where survival isn't a given, it's a hard-won daily victory. They are built on a foundation of tough realism, incredible depth, and community focus that respects a player desire for a real struggle. It's not about better graphics or more stuff, more blocks. It's about the search for a world that actually pushes back. A game that doesn't hold your hand, and a journey where the struggle itself is the greatest reward. But that's just my take. What do you guys think? Have you ever felt like the challenge has disappeared from your favorite game? Are you someone who craves difficulty, or do you prefer the more relaxed gameplay? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.